If a politician got assassinated tomorrow, do you think countries all over the world would suddenly start shooting at each other? Probably not. So why did it happen in 1914? Most people will tell you World War I started because a man named Archduke Franz Ferdinand got shot. And technically, they're right. But that's kind of like saying a forest burned down because of one spark. The spark matters, but only because the entire forest was already dry. And before World War I, Europe was basically one giant dry forest. Countries didn't trust each other. Everyone was building bigger armies, everyone wanted more power, and most importantly, everyone had friends, or at least allies. If one country got attacked, their allies promised to help. Sounds reasonable, right? The problem was that almost everybody had made those promises, and nobody really knew what would happen if they all got activated at once. Then came June 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the future ruler of Austria-Hungary. He visited a city called Sarajevo, and that's where things got weird. A group of young Serbian nationalists wanted him dead. They planned an assassination. One attacker threw a bomb. Missed. The Archduke survived. The attackers scattered. And honestly, that should have been the end of the story. But later that day, the driver's car took a wrong turn. Just a wrong turn. No master plan, no grand conspiracy, just a mistake. When the car stopped, it happened to stop right in front of one of the assassins, a man named Gavrilo Princip. Imagine that. Your mission fails. You walk away, and suddenly the person you're looking for appears right in front of you. Princip pulled out a pistol. He fired. The Archduke was killed. And now the spark had landed. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia. Makes sense. But Serbia had a powerful friend, Russia. So when Austria-Hungary prepared for war, Russia stepped in. And then Germany stepped in to support Austria-Hungary. Then France stepped in to support Russia. Then Germany attacked France. Then Britain got involved. And within weeks, what started as a dispute between two countries became a war involving much of Europe. It's like watching dominoes fall. One country moved, then another, then another, then another, until nobody could stop the chain reaction. And now millions of soldiers were marching toward a war that nobody fully understood. At first, many people thought the war would be short. A few months, maybe less. People believed they'd be home by Christmas. They were wrong. Very wrong. Instead of quick victories, the war got stuck. Soldiers dug massive trenches across Europe, hundreds of miles of them, and for years those trenches barely moved. Imagine living in mud, cold, rain, rats, constant artillery fire, and knowing that climbing out of your trench could mean death within minutes. That became everyday life. Meanwhile, new weapons were making everything worse. Machine guns, poison gas, heavy artillery, early tanks. Technology had become incredibly advanced, but military strategy hadn't caught up. The result was devastating. Millions died for pieces of land that sometimes measured only a few hundred yards. And the longer the war lasted, the more countries got pulled into it. Empires spent huge amounts of money. Food became scarce. People grew tired. Entire nations were exhausted. Then another major player arrived, the United States. After years of staying out of the conflict, America entered the war in 1917, and that changed everything. Fresh soldiers, fresh supplies, fresh resources. The balance began to shift. By 1918, Germany and its allies were running out of options. Their armies were exhausted, their economy was struggling, and support for the war was collapsing. Eventually, Germany agreed to an armistice, a ceasefire. And on November 11th, 1918, the fighting stopped. World War I was over. But the story wasn't, because by the end of the war, around 20 million people were dead. Empires had collapsed, maps had changed, entire generations were traumatized, and the peace that followed left many people angry, especially in Germany. Which leads to an uncomfortable truth. World War I ended in 1918, but some of the decisions made afterward would help create an even bigger conflict, World War II, just 20 years later. And that's a story for another time. So yes, World War I started with an assassination, but it became a world war because Europe had spent years building a system where everybody was connected. The assassination was the spark. The alliances were the fuel. And once the fire started, nobody knew how to stop it.